Okay, okay. Some more of this guy's thoughts on things that people want me to talk about. Today, I'm responding to the question, as we sense that we're falling through space without any possibility of finding any ground or stability, where do various traditions or approaches suggest that we place our attention? Or do some see it differently, such that placing attention isn't even the proper framing? Perhaps I could include what approaches are recommended in the meantime. So, this is kind of getting at a distinction between progressive and immediate paths. That distinction is often drawn. It's kind of a false distinction in the end. There are different minds and bodies, different approaches suited to different people at different times. Uh, I'm with the kind of standard mainstream of Buddhism and Shinzen that whatever works works. If direct pointing, turning the light of awareness around on itself, if that works, it works. Great, do that. If you try and try again and try again and again and again and again with a lot of different instructions from a lot of different teachers, and there's no certainty, there's no. I get this question sometimes in one-on-ones, like, would I notice? Yeah, yeah, you'll notice. It's not necessarily dramatic, but it's not subtle either. Um, and there can be kind of intimations of the thing, the thing, a broadening of awareness out to encompass more of the field. I mean, calling it a broadening is just a metaphor. It's really a relaxation of the usual fixation point focus on one object after another object after another object after another object, which most of us do all day long. Point to point to point to point to point. And then the real thing, there isn't any sense of spreading or collapsing. It's completely open, relaxed, uncontracted, without need, compulsion, self or other. There's no sense of durational time or distance in space. And this is known without doubt, hesitation, throughout the whole body and mind. Every pore, every bone. So if it's not that clear, um, then you would probably benefit from doing some stabilization of attention. In unified mindfulness, we would call that concentration. If you're familiar with the word samadhi, I like that term, prefer to leave it untranslated. And even if you do have some facility with non-dual practices or opening awareness practice, that will only be enhanced by deliberate cultivation of a collected, calm, clear, stable mind that allows you to bring in well-being into the body, into the mind, ease, joy. So whether you are able to glimpse what I'm talking about for a second and rest there for a couple seconds, a minute, maybe. If you can do a minute, that's real good. Um, one of a teacher that has been quite influential for me, though I've never met her in person, Lama Lena. Um, in one of her recent talks, I was reviewing. Um, she said that a lot of people confuse objectless shamatha, so concentration, samadhi without an object, a kind of diffusion of attention into the broader field of awareness, and just getting really still, clear, and stabilized there. They confuse that with trekchö, with the goal of Mahamudra. It's not the same. One could be a stepping stone to the other. Hmm. But in objectless shamatha, there's still duality. There's still a here and a there, however diffuse, however expansive. And for the real thing, no, that's gone. Just gone. There's another part to the question. What approaches are recommended in the meantime? Preliminary practices, basically. Objectless shamatha is a preliminary practice. The jhanas, you could look at them as preliminary practices. Vipassana, in its conventional modes, you could look at them as preliminary practices. To actually do, Mahamudra or Dzogchen or Zen in its traditional sense. Zen is a post-awakening practice. That's kind of how it is often looked at in the Rinzai tradition, for example. You can't really say you're practicing Zen until there's a foundation of stable awakening. That's how some teachers see it. Some of my teachers. And then once there is that clear recognition, you can continue with kind of conventional modes of practice, stabilizing the mind, getting into altered states of perception. Those are helpful. They're auxiliary practices, useful for dissipating tension that kind of obstructs that continuity of recognition. But it's always going to come back to this. Nowhere else. Okay. I think that is all I have to say on that. No, I'll quote Talopa's Six Nails, which I recently posted on X. So this is from Mahamudra, but the goal, Mahamudra, is the same as Dzogchen. It's a different path, it's a different method, but same result. Don't recall, don't imagine, don't think, don't examine, don't control, just rest. And his thoughts, sensations, feelings, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, action, movement, stillness. At all times, in all situations, don't recall, don't imagine, don't think, don't examine, don't control. Just rest right here. Nowhere else to go. Okay, now I actually am finished. Take care, everybody.